Hello. Welcome. It's me, Mario. I can say that because I'm part Italian. I don't know why that's been stuck in my head lately. Anyways, it's good to see you on this very rainy day. It's a rainy day. It's like 4 p.m. but it's kind of looked like it's nighttime almost all day. Luckily, I like rainy days. So, it's kind of the perfect laid back vibe for making ASMR. But I figured we could, do a little ramble, check in, me and you. I figured I would talk about why I haven't made a podcast episode in a while. I think it's been like a month. And there are a few little tiny reasons. So, I actually did record a podcast episode like 2 weeks ago, but I don't know, I was just feeling so much resistance when I thought about posting it. I couldn't even bring myself to edit it. Edit it. I find that really catchy to say. Edit it. I couldn't bring myself to edit it because, I don't know, I was talking about demand avoidance, which is basically where when people tell you to do something, it makes you not want to do it, even if you were already planning on doing it. And I don't know, for some reason, whatever I talked about in that episode, I just felt resistance to actually sharing it with you. Maybe I'll go back later and revisit it and edit it and see if it's, worth sharing, and then maybe I will. But I don't know, I just felt kind of a resistance. And if I'm being honest, a lot of my thoughts are very abstract, and it takes me a long time to come to a deep understanding of how I feel, my opinions, even just having something to say. I don't always have that ready. And so, for me, a lot of the time I like to do other kinds of videos, like role plays or random ASMR, where I'm not, speaking from my soul. Well, I am, I'm just not like directly talking about what I'm thinking about. It's kind of like a more abstract way of communicating, because I'm still communicating. You know what I mean? I'm just not saying directly what I'm thinking about, because I don't even know, because it's too deep in my subconscious at that point. And I kind of am discovering myself through those videos in a way. But I don't know. I figured that was worth explaining, because I have something in my eye. I'm wearing my contacts for the first time in a while. Ow. Because my eyes have been so dry. So I've been wearing glasses. Maybe I have an eyelash, but it hurts really bad. Can you see anything? Okay. Oh yeah, I think sometimes people think that if I don't post a podcast episode, that is intentional or strategic for whatever reason. But it is not. I love making podcast episodes. I love rambling. I love connecting with you. But I'm not always ready. I think sometimes if I try to talk about things before I'm ready, it's just kind of like it can come off wrong, you know? Or I can just sit here silently and not say anything. So instead, I like to do different kinds of videos where I'm exploring a story and not directly unpacking my mind. But sneakily, I still am unpacking my mind, because that's still a part of me, just a different part. But I don't know. I kind of went through this phase of confusion, and for the past month and a half, and that always happens before an up-leveling. It's kind of like the night before the morning, and I kind of just felt very confused and disconnected from myself for a little while. So it was hard to really get my bearing. But I have now come back into balance. And it feels so good after all of that confusion. It feels good to have that clarity and balance. And that makes me feel more grounded in self-trust. Because I know that no matter what experiences I go through, no matter what I lose or who I lose, I will always come back into balance. There might be a lot of grief first, there might be a lot of confusion in that transformation process, but that is I want to say alchemy. You know, taking those kind of dark times and experiences and using them to become even more yourself and get an even deeper connection with yourself. And every time you go into the darkness and face it and sit in it and feel it, you come out 10 times stronger, if not more, because it's exponential. 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 My foot is falling asleep. So, right now, I am, and I have been, going through what I call shame lessons. Shame lessons. So, a few years ago, I started going through what I call fear lessons. And I've talked extensively about this in previous videos. But basically, my whole life, I had so much fear clouding my experience. It was like a thick layer of filter over my perception, and everything I experienced, everything I saw and interacted with was coming to me through the lens of fear. And it was corrupting my entire reality. And it was preventing me from feeling good and feeling safe and being able to experience pleasure and peace and joy. And so when the fear lessons started, basically it was a culmination of the fear that I needed to face, because what made it get so bad was the fact that I was avoiding it. And so when I turned around to face my fear and I became curious about it and I sat with it whenever it showed up, I felt it in my entire body, and somehow I was okay. Somehow I survived. Somehow I experienced that and realized that, it's that quote, really famous quote, but there's nothing to fear except fear itself. It's really true. And so, as you can imagine, the fear lessons were very scary and intense, but as I chose to sit with my fear over and 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 over again, and still sometimes now it likes to show up to have a little chat. Slowly the fear filter started to erode, and I was seeing glimpses of this insanely beautiful reality that always was there, but I couldn't see it before, and it started breaking through. And that was incredible, and it is incredible, because that is the reality I get to interact with every day, every second now. But it doesn't stop with fear. filters based on our past experiences and beliefs that were instilled in us, either directly or societally. And it's not just fear, although I would argue fear is like a main one, but another one is shame. So I think we get shamed for a lot of things that we should not be shamed for, that are not inherently wrong. And we know that in our souls, but there's a lot of shame that is used to control people and bully them into behaving in a way that, whoever might prefer. And so I think that is the filter I am working on eroding right now. But that means that I'm having a lot of opportunities to sit with shame, present themselves, and I will say it's better than the fear lessons. I much prefer the shame lessons over the fear lessons. The fear lessons have more of a visceral, like, life or death type vibe to them. The shame lessons have more of like a nauseous, icky feeling to them, which is also bad, but I'd rather feel nauseous than like I'm about to die. So I don't know, that's what I've been kind of experiencing, and I think at this point I've gotten to the point where I have kind of gotten a handle on it. The fact that I'm even aware that this is happening shows that I've kind of passed over the peak of the lesson, and now I'm just practicing sitting with those kinds of feelings as they pop up. And it's a fun game, but uncomfortable, of course. So I'm excited to see what kind of reality will reveal itself, what kind of power I will feel once that filter erodes more fully. I don't know if we're ready for that type of power, because I think that fear and shame are probably the two biggest things that hold people back from accessing their full potential. And so that's exciting. It's exciting. But yeah, if you have done that, like sat with fear or shame or grief or anger or I don't know what else, let me know. And I really respect you. I know how difficult it is. Those kind of experiences are the induction into the next level. Is that the right word? Induction? I think so. But once you've decided to face it, everything kind of unfolds exactly as it needs to. So, I don't know. I've decided to face it. And by it, I mean everything. But it happens one lesson at a time. Luckily, because I don't think anyone could handle all of it all at once. But anyways, I hope that I'm not speaking in riddles. That's scary. Well, I know what happened here. Right before I made this video, I grabbed something from the closet and the little like metal shelf scratched me, but I didn't realize that it got like that. Kinda looks cool though. But, yeah. I hope you understand. Well, whatever. Whoever's meant to understand will understand. If you don't understand, then that's okay. That's fine. Now my other foot is falling asleep. Okay. Another thing I wanted to talk about is dogs are the gateway of love. So I think for me, something that I experienced with my dog Lexi was this kind of a love that I've never really experienced before, where it's just this deep, unconditional love where you just light up and you can like feel it going from your heart to them. And I think once you have experienced this with one person or animal or plant or item, you can kind of expand it to include yourself and other people and other animals and the entire world. It's like when you want to peel an orange, you have to dig your thumb in to like get the peel started. Loving one thing or animal can be that thumb that digs in and gets the love open. And I think for a lot of people, they feel that about their kids or could be about a lover, but with lovers it's more complicated because a lot of dark emotions can also get involved, like possessiveness and jealousy, and that can kind of corrupt it. Whereas with an animal or your child, it's a lot more pure. So I don't know, I was just thinking about that and curious if anyone else has had that experience. Pretty sure they have. So let me know. But also, it's weird because I love Lexi, my dog, a lot, and I noticed that when I am focused on her and sending her my love energy from my heart routinely, that's when she is the happiest and the healthiest looking. But sometimes when I'm going through a stressful time and maybe I'm not showing her as much attention, like maybe I'm not looking at her as much, or I'm not having those moments of like adoration directed at her, I noticed she kind of like starts looking a little bit more don't know, just more tired and less glowing and more just like kind of, like more drained. And the same with my plants. I have 2 plants, Angel and Pumpkin, and when I look at them routinely with love, they look so healthy. But when I kind of start forgetting to do that routinely, they look more sad. And so I think it's the same thing with ourselves. I think if you get into the habit of feeding yourself with that nourishment of adoration and love, you start glowing. You start looking healthy and cared for, because you are energetically. And when you neglect yourself and you never are directing that heart energy back, you're just like distracted with the stuff you have to do. I think you start to look like you're going through it. You start to look more tired and haggard. I don't know if that's the right word, but basically, I think that if you can learn to love one thing or being, you can expand from there. And if you can expand it enough to include yourself, then you have an endless supply of energy and health and beauty and peace, all coming from just having that like love coming back into yourself. But yeah, I don't know, I thought that was really interesting. And then I had another thing I wanted to talk about, which is time. So a lot of people have a very complicated relationship with time, because it can be stressful, to feel like time is going by, I haven't done everything I need to, I'm always running behind, there's never enough time, I can't do all the things I want to, or whatever other beliefs or feelings we might have attached to time. But time can be used as a tool. It's all about how you use it. And there are so many things that you can use time for. This is sounding really funny, but because it's like so obvious, but trust me, for me, this like way of thinking, when I shifted this mentality, it was really good. And I still have to remind myself too, because sometimes I get into those ruts where I feel like I don't have enough time. But time is actually an amazing asset as long as it's being applied correctly. So many things need time to grow. And so as time is passing, as long as you have set yourself up correctly, it's actually being used in your benefit. You don't have to do every single thing you need to do ever all in one day. You don't have to cram everything into such a small amount of time. You can actually do the opposite. You can do extremely small steps that get compounded over time. And if you're doing that, if you're doing these extremely small, precise, intentional steps and time is passing, you actually get happy that time is passing, because that means that your investment is paying off. It's getting bigger and bigger, and you're watching it grow like a plant, like a plant, like a plant. And so it then becomes a gift instead of a curse. And the difference is small, intentional, incremental decisions versus chaotic, nervous, huge action that is very all over the place, and you are rushing to get things done, and you never have enough time because you're just out of breath, trying, and it's never working out. And oh my god, another month passed. Oh my god, another year passed. And sometimes you just need to slow down, do the smallest action required, but do it consistently, and all of a sudden it adds up to something over time. I don't know. It's just, yeah, you just want to reframe it if you have a negative perception of time. And I definitely have talked about this before, because this is something that I realized a couple years ago. And when I first started getting into personal development, my favorite lady on YouTube, Wences, she makes videos for INFJs. She always says, you don't have to do all the things, you just have to do the right things. And I think that's the key. You don't have to do so much stuff and cram it all into a small amount of time. You can actually do barely anything, but as long as you're doing it very intentionally and consistently over time, it grows exponentially. But yeah, I think that's all we had to talk about today. I think that is all we had to talk about today. I am looking forward to talking to you more. Possibly. I mean, no, I will talk to you more. And I'm so grateful that you are here. I love you. And I hope that you love yourself, because you deserve that. You are the one that is assigned to do that in this lifetime. So make sure that you are not letting yourself down by shirking that responsibility, because you deserve to receive that unconditional love that only you can provide. So get to it, get the loving, get the loving. And if you don't love yourself, love your dog, love your kid, love your plant,